Hello, friends, and welcome back. This week, we're going to be doing some comprehension stuff. Um, so let's talk about that. I'm sitting outside today because it is very pretty, and while neon orange is not really my color, this is my Miller Moment shirt. So let's talk about comprehension. There's a lot to it, and for some people, that reading comprehension part of reading comes a little bit more naturally. For others, it's more difficult to learn how to ask yourself questions about things while you're reading. And that's okay. It takes time, it takes practice. Like any skill, it takes practice. It's like dribbling a basketball. Or riding a bike. So many things. Anyway, so let's talk about comprehension. I want to talk about 3 specific parts of comprehension that you can specifically think about and work on when you're reading anything. A blog, a newspaper article. I know y'all don't read newspapers, but a book, a graphic novel even, anything you're reading. So, the first thing is making connections. And you guys have heard about this because we've talked to you about it all year long. We're just going to keep talking about it until you're like, oh my God, I get it. I can make connections to things. You can make text-to-text connections. And we've done that a lot. Like this year we read a part of The Hunger Games, and then we also read The Cruel Tribute. And you guys found tons of text-to-text connections between those two. And also to The Maze Runner, right? You can make text-to-self connections. How does what you're reading connect to your own personal experiences? People you know, places you've been. As I was writing this episode, I was using personal connections even to write. So, like the character Coach Wilson, I was looking at school. They have all these cutout heads of the teachers, and there's one of Coach Lucas wearing a cowboy hat. It has a little text bubble that says, "Yeah, big dog," and it just makes me laugh. And as I was writing this coach character, I was picturing him in that picture with his cowboy hat. And so I had this visual of Coach Lucas. Of course, in this story, I think I turned him into kind of a like thick Southern accent, which I don't know. Anyway, it's not Coach Lucas. It's a made-up character. But I was using my connection, and it goes the reverse way too. That was me as a writer. As a reader, when I'm reading books, I'm thinking about people I know. How does this character remind me of my brother or my mom or my best friend? It can be characters, it can be events in the story. Maybe you experienced your parents getting divorced, and that's happening to a character in a book. Or maybe you have gone on a road trip across the United States, and you're reading about these people in the, in the frontier days, taking a covered wagon across the United States. Right, you get the idea. Descriptions, ideas. You can find text-to-self connections everywhere. And if you try to tell me you can't, then I'm going to tell you you're either lying, lazy, or you need to get out and experience some new things, because you can make text-to-self connections everywhere. Everywhere. And then the third one, text-to-text, text-to-self, is text-to-world, looking at society around us. And that goes for the same thing, characters could remind you maybe not of someone you know personally, but it could be someone significant in the world, like, say, the President of the United States, or um, a local celebrity or global celebrity, um, events going on in the world. Like, if any of you guys have or are reading The Hate You Give, oh man, I cannot think of a more timely novel for young people to read right now. That book is from front cover to back cover. It is all text to world connections for right now and what is going on in the United States. And I'm not going to get into all of that, although I could. Y'all should totally read The Hate You Give. But that book is such a perfect example of finding text to world connections. So if you haven't read it, go read it. If you have, read it again, because it's so deeply related to what's going on in society right now. Anyway, so that's about making connections. And in the process of making connections, you're thinking about things, and it's not like you have a checklist. That reminds me of my dad because he has a mustache. Check. Bushy eyebrows. Check. And he likes explaining things. Check. That's not really how it works. It's that you're asking questions, or you're just kind of thinking about things as you read. And evaluating details goes right along with that. If there's a fact, a description of something or someone, you're constantly thinking about those details. Maybe you're just picturing, Snow White, the queen, gives her this poisoned apple, and you're picturing the apple in your mind. You're picturing her biting the apple, right? Those are all just details. You have to evaluate the details by asking yourself. So you've already asked, you've already looked at it and like, man, that really reminds me of somebody I know. It's not that you had a checklist that said, look for someone that reminds you of your mom. It's that the character does something or says something, or, that you're like, my mom says that all the time. That's a text to self-connection right there. So then with evaluating details, the question is, okay, you've noticed a detail, you might have even made a connection with it. Does this detail suggest a larger idea? Maybe it's something that's kind of recurring, that keeps coming back. Maybe you get a sense that there's some foreshadowing, like maybe a detail has been mentioned offhand. You start to ask yourself, are they trying to tell me something? Is something going to come of this? What's happening here? Does this suggest a larger idea? Is there some conspiracy at hand? There's probably no conspiracy, but there is definitely a whole system of key details, key ideas that lead the plot development forward, right? And then you've made your connections, you've personally invested in a story, you've evaluated the details, you can kind of see where it's going now, right? When you learn to really evaluate details, you're going to get really good at guessing what's going to happen in movies. It drives my husband insane because everything we watch, I'm like, oh yeah, that guy's the killer. How do you know that? You saw I did like the little side-eye glance, and you're evaluating the details all the time so you can predict what's going to happen, right? Among other things. And then you're synthesizing, which is a really fancy word for taking what you already read and joining that in with the new stuff you read to start forming new thoughts about it. As you read, you gain more information, and you start to form opinions, right? If you're reading a mystery, you may start forming opinions about the characters and who you think did it, like an Agatha Christie novel where kind of everyone's a suspect, right? If you so sorry, my notes are blowing in the wind. So you're gaining new information, you're forming opinions about what's going on. If you keep reading, you acquire more information, you get more evidence in the realm of whodunit mystery. You get more evidence, and that may change your thinking. It may lead you to new understanding. You have to keep going for everything to start to fall into place. And so when you're making connections with the text, you're gaining understanding by being able to relate maybe the characters to people you know, or relating to things you've read before that kind of help you see where the story is going to go, or find meaning in something. Once you've done all of that, you comprehend, right? The synthesizing part of it is the continuation. You've got to press on. Don't be so quick to set something aside and say, I don't get it. If you keep reading, it will start to become more clear. And that's the synthesizing part, okay? I wrote this particular episode with the synthesizing part of this very much in mind. And I talked to someone, I won't say her name. Okay, I won't say your last name, Zoe. But I talked to someone, I was trying to get some feedback, poking around, seeing if somebody will tell me what's working, what's not. And she said that the poem just kind of makes sense. She didn't get it. And she showed it to her mom. Her mom was like, I don't get it. Okay, I get it. That's the part that I wanted to bring in this episode, is I want it to start to make a little bit more sense. So we'll see if I accomplish that. I tried. I'm trying to make it interesting for you guys. Keep coming back, because next week the story is going to pick up a little bit in intensity. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope you're having a little bit of fun, at least, and doing something different than sitting on the couch and playing Roblox. Roblox? Minecraft? Fortnite. I don't know what y'all are playing. Go outside. It's beautiful. I love you guys. I'm proud of you. You matter in this world, and it's important for you to make sure other human beings around you feel valued. If you put that into the world around you, that is the energy that'll come back to you. So make people feel welcome. Make people feel like they have value, and in turn, they will treat you that way as well. But we're all humans. We're all here together, and we have to share this crazy world. So, can't we all just get along? Right? All right. Take care, guys.